Once upon a time, in the small town of Amityville, New York, there stood a house that would become infamous for its dark and tragic history. The house at 112 Ocean Avenue was a typical suburban home, with a white facade, a large yard, and a welcoming atmosphere. However, beneath its charming exterior lay a story of horror that would haunt its walls. In November 1974, a young man named Ronald DeFeo Jr. committed a crime so shocking that it would send waves of fear throughout the community. Ronald was the eldest son of the DeFeo family, a seemingly normal family living in the house. The family consisted of Ronald's father, Louis DeFeo, his mother, Louise, and his 4 siblings, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John. They were an ordinary family, but their lives would be forever altered by the actions of Ronald. On the night of November 13th, 1974, a horrific event unfolded. Ronald, then 23 years old, grabbed a rifle and shot his entire family while they slept. The sounds of gunfire went unnoticed by neighbors, as the DeFeo family was well known in the area, and no one thought anything was amiss. Ronald later claimed that he was possessed by demonic forces, hearing voices that compelled him to commit the murders. He shot his family members one by one, ensuring they would not wake up to the horror that was unfolding around them. When the sun rose the next day, the peaceful neighborhood was shattered. Ronald went to a nearby bar and casually told patrons that his family had been killed. Alarmed, they called the police. When officers arrived at the DeFeo home, they discovered the gruesome scene. The bodies of Ronald's parents and siblings were found in their beds, each shot in the head with a .35 caliber rifle. It was a shocking and brutal crime, and the community was left in disbelief. Ronald DeFeo Jr. was arrested and charged with the murders. During his trial, he claimed that he had been driven to kill by the voices in his head, insisting that he was not in control of his actions. The prosecution argued that Ronald was simply trying to evade responsibility for his actions. Ultimately, he was found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to 6 sentences of 25 years to life in prison. The DeFeo family's horrific demise left the house empty and shrouded in darkness. For over a year, the home stood abandoned, a grim reminder of the tragedy that had taken place within its walls. Many locals believed the house was cursed, and it became the subject of various ghost stories and urban legends. The once idyllic neighborhood now had a shadow hanging over it, and people avoided the house whenever they could. In 1975, a new family decided to move into the DeFeo home. The Lutz family, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, were eager to start fresh in their new home. They were attracted by the house's spacious layout and beautiful surroundings, completely unaware of the dark history that accompanied it. The Lutzes were excited about their new life, but they would soon come to regret their decision. Shortly after moving in, the Lutz family began to experience strange and unsettling occurrences. At first, they dismissed the odd happenings as mere quirks of an old house. However, as the days turned into weeks, the paranormal activity escalated, and the family's sense of normalcy quickly faded. One of the first signs that something was wrong was the bizarre temperature fluctuations within the house. The Lutzes would enter rooms only to be met with sudden chills, as if a cold wind had swept through. These cold spots seemed to appear out of nowhere, leaving them feeling uneasy and on edge. It was as if the house itself was alive, reacting. The children, Daniel, Christopher, and Missy, reported hearing strange noises at night. They described hearing footsteps echoing through the halls, as if someone was walking around the house while they were asleep. They would wake up to whispers, laughter, and the sound of things moving on their own. The adults, too, felt the weight of the atmosphere pressing down on them, creating a sense of dread that they couldn't shake. As time went on, the Lutzes began to feel a growing sense of fear and anxiety. George, the father, became increasingly withdrawn and irritable. He often felt a compelling urge to go outside and chop wood. Kathy, the mother, sensed a dark presence in the house, and her dreams were filled with disturbing images. She often woke up in a panic, feeling as though something was watching her. The children were not exempt from the house's influence either. Missy, the youngest, began to talk about an imaginary friend named Jody. She described Jody as a little girl who would visit her and play with her. However, Missy's descriptions of Jody grew increasingly disturbing. She claimed that Jody had glowing eyes and could appear as a large, hairy creature. This imaginary friend seemed to be a manifestation of the malevolent energy within the house. The family sought help from paranormal investigators to understand the strange occurrences. Ed and Lorraine Warren, well-known figures in the field of paranormal research, agreed to investigate the Lutz home. The Warrens were famous for their work on other hauntings, including the Amityville case, and were eager to uncover the truth behind the Lutz families. During their investigation, the Warrens conducted various tests and interviews. They reported feeling a strong negative energy within the house. As they explored the property, they discovered that the house had a dark history tied to the DeFeo murders. The Warrens believed that the spirits of the deceased DeFeo family may still be trapped within the walls of the home. As the investigation unfolded, the Lutzes became increasingly frightened. The paranormal activity escalated, with objects moving on their own and doors slamming shut. The family felt as though they were being watched, their every move observed by unseen eyes. They documented their experiences in a journal, detailing the growing sense of dread and despair that consumed their lives. The situation became unbearable for the Lutz family. After just 28 days in the house, they made the difficult decision to leave. They abandoned their belongings and fled, seeking refuge elsewhere. Their experiences in the house would later be documented in the book, The Amityville Horror, written by Jay Anson. The book captured the public's imagination and became a bestseller, leading to a film adaptation that further popularized the story. The Lutz family's tale blended the real horror of the DeFeo murders with the chilling accounts of their own haunting experiences. The Amityville house became a symbol of fear and intrigue, drawing in curious visitors and paranormal enthusiasts. Many people flocked to the site, hoping to catch a glimpse of the infamous home and the stories that surrounded it. Over the years, the legacy of the Amityville Horror continued to grow. The house changed owners multiple times, but the stories of hauntings and paranormal activity persisted. Some residents claimed to feel an unsettling presence, while others dismissed the tales as mere folklore. The house became a subject of fascination in popular culture, inspiring numerous documentaries, films, and books. Despite the passing of time, the events that transpired in the Amityville house remain a topic of debate. Some skeptics argue that the Lutzes fabricated their experiences for financial gain, while others believe that the dark energy from the DeFeo murders may have genuinely influenced the family. The truth may never be fully known, but the story endures as a chilling reminder of the unknown forces that can lurk within the walls of a home. Today, the Amityville house stands as a testament to its haunting past. It has undergone renovations and changes in ownership, but its history continues to captivate the imagination of those who hear its tale. The chilling story of Ronald DeFeo Jr. and the Lutz family serves as a cautionary reminder of the darkness that can inhabit even the most ordinary of places.